came the tapes, you know, and I think we had stuff like, of course, Luther Vandross, Michael Jackson, #1. I couldn't wait to pop open that Thriller. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then it's a trip, man, because you know, in those times when 8 tracks and tapes was around, believe it or not, man, it was a it was excitement. You know what I mean? Because nowadays you can't sign an autograph
Right.
on a digital. You know what I mean? But back then it meant something when you popped that in the Cadillac that you was riding with your uncles in, you know, doing what they was doing and listening to some Love TKO,
Ooh.
man, when that or some Tina Marie, when nothing like
Uh-huh.
it, you know.
Fire and
So
Desire.
yeah, them was special times back then, and I just I'm glad that the culture is bringing back wax, 8-track tapes, and tapes because yeah, I mean this digital age, man, don't compare to that age. You know, we had to record on 2-inch tape,
Mhm.
bounce it down to half-inch tape, and but it was good. We took our time like a slow cooked meal, so that's
That's
what it
right.
was.
And that's interesting that you said that because that brings me to one of my questions. Like, and I'm just going to jump all the way to that question. When you got into the studio back then, opposed to now, what was artist development like back then?
What was such thing as A&Rs, you know, back
Right.
then. You know, they took the time to develop artists. You can look all the way, you know, from the 50s all the way up to the 60s, the 70s. You know, you really had to have what we consider back then real gifted talent, unless
Hmm.
they threw rotten tomatoes at you. And those A&R development, it was very important because 9 times out of 10, you know, they were really instrumental in shaping and sometimes putting successful groups together from this part of that city, that part of that city or that state. And it meant something back then, you know what I mean? But nowadays, you know, via technology, you know, it's just, you know, kind of archaic right now. It's really no such thing as A&R. And that has pros and cons, you know what I mean? The cons about it is that, you know, every Tom, Dick, and Harry that put on the auto tune and do this and do that claim they're A&R and they're in this. And, you know, it's more artificial and simulation right now. You know
Right.
what I mean? But I miss the days of all A&Rs because, you know, they were very crucial back then to developing artists, you know, from the ground up.
Okay. All right. You want to hear the craziest thing since we're on that and authentic music. Um, and I do remember my first cassette, not 8 track. I used to steal my aunt's records and listen to Richard Pryor. You remember back then, you didn't have.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We used to do that. Mama made us.
Hmm.
Red Fox Records, Dolomite.
Yes,
You know, we got in trouble too, but
cussing.
you know, but that those things, sisters, is a real contributing part of the culture in hip hop. You know what I mean? Also, Gil Scott Heron, reading old school Donald Goins books. You know what
Right.
I mean? You know, the revolution with the Black Panthers. You know those things, man. It really, really paved the way for the youngsters, and some of the youngsters just don't have a clue. You know, no disrespect to Jacquees, but the millenniums, a lot of millenniums got the Jacquees versus to a Q Sweat type of
Right.
attitude. You know what I mean? Not all, you know what I mean? But back then, you know, you really had to bring your all. You had to have bars,
Right.
you had to have creativity, and not just the creativity, your style, your swag, how you do. We didn't call it swag, we call it style back then.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's just a trip, like everything is starting to come back into a loop again.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like all kind of people, because they got to sit down now and something about music while everybody's on lockdown.
Right.
They have a chance to do what we did when we listened to Marvin Gaye's and we listened to, you know, your cameos and, you know, it helped life a lot better when you had that soul music. And it just, you know, I thank God that it's coming back around because it's hitting the youngsters now,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Yes,
You're
ma'am.
right about that. And you know, speaking of hitting the youngsters, because you were super young once upon a time ago. And I'm not saying your
I'm
age.
still
You're
young.
still young, right?
Just a little gray, just a little gray.
How did
Hmm.
you break into the music industry?
Well, I come from music royalty, humbly speaking. That's my humble surroundings. My
Mhm.
father, Jerry Long, the great Jerry B. Long Sr., I'm Jerry B. Long Jr. He's a Motown legend. His sound, things that he introduced was an intricate part of the Motown sound, from functioning with the Funk Brothers, writing over 500 composition hits before coming to Motown Records. He did songs with Frank Sinatra, Little Richard. He was the orchestrator, director, writer, arranger, composer. He was the technician. So when he worked with Norman Winfield and the Funk Brothers, they would give it to him, and he would write all the parts for the different musicians himself. You know what I mean? So his sound, when you hear like Just My Imagination with the string progression, that's my father.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And my uncle was Willie Hutch, who Willie Hutch wrote "I'll Be There," ABC, did the slew of soundtracks, preferably the Mac.
Hmm.
Was very incredible. Brothers Gonna Work It Out. So it was kind of like we had the cheat code, but living with my grandparents because aunties, we come from a black family where aunties and uncles and everybody be tripping. You know what I'm saying? But granny and grandpa is the centerpiece of the whole family.
Hmm.
So, during that time, the things was real shady at that time in the music industry. You know what I mean? And it was ran by, certain organizations that if you would try to get your props, man, you probably won't be here to even breathe.
Right.
So my dad went through all that type of situation. So it's not like we reaped the financial benefits of his sound, because man, it was real. Put it like this, serious back then. Let's just say that.
Right.
But we grew up in Pomona, California. Um, my cousin too, he had a group called Above the Law. His name is Code 187 Hutch, Gregory Hutchison. And we all come from that musical background, with Granny and Grandpa played jazz.
Mm.
They used to go to Jazz Playboy Festival, come back with those records. We had a chance to mix it up with soul, funk, hip hop, cool hurt. So it was really, like I say, when I say the cheat code,
Hmm.
we was exposed to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And me playing in the professional band at 13, that's when I learned tonation, harmonies, being the first trumpet. So we were seasoned, you know what I'm saying, to do what we're doing now today. So it wasn't just by an overnight thing.
Right.
Pyramids weren't built in one night. So, but it took years, for people to finally get what we were doing. And I articulate that and mirror that to the same thing with George Clinton and Bootsy Collins and Cameo and Zap told me. They said it took them years for people to understand what the funk was,
Right.
like what soul is. Even a great record like Marvin Gaye was going on, people were shunned at it.
Mm.
Barry Gordy was like even that, but it ended up touching the people. And that's one of the things that I identify, not so much with the politics of industry, because there's new people there's people with egos, there's weirdos, there's this people, and it's kind of hard to navigate around that. But one thing that stands clear is when you're in touch and tune with the people, they allow you to go to the back streets as opposed to being on the busy streets.
Right. Right.
So that's been my whole career, sister, because people were afraid to say cocaine when Ruthless Records wasn't no secret to that. There was controversial.
Right.
N.W.A. niggas with attitudes. Law, DOC, Ice Cube, the things that they were touching on. Of course, years later, it's still a mirror of saying, F the police. Well, what's going on?
Hmm.
Well, they were ahead of their times.
Facts.
So, but people didn't want to say my name, and it shut the door because this is an awkward backward system. It's like, words like dope are, it's our cliche. It's to
Mm.
hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they didn't want to hear this, sister. When I used to get on the radio, a lot of times they would say, well, why you call yourself cocaine? Cocaine suffered the black people back. I said the ironic part it is that I'm taking the stigma out of it and spelling it Kokane
Mhm.
to
Right.
means when you listen to my music is dope. Get high on this cocaine because that cocaine with CACAINE it's whack.
Hmm.
And absolutely, let me tell you this. They was tripped out because I said, man, Coca-Cola actually used to put cocaine in their products. They actually put medicine in their products. So we understand, you know what I'm saying? Everything that they, was throwing at me, they didn't want to hear that. You know what I mean? But I'm glad that a lot of doors got shut on me, even if I came from a musical background, because it made me work hard than your average.
Right.
And I never thought years later, sister, that I would be the most collaborative artist in recording history. And I say that with all humbleness and humiliation. That's 30 plus years of hard work every year, coming out with something, faithfully lacing artists around the world. And it's just a blessing now that I can have my platform, wisdom, and experience. I know I'm talking a lot, but wisdom and experience to put my family on because it's going on 37 years now. I've been with my wife together. I've been together
Wow.
with my girl, and we got 8 children, 4 boys and 4 girls. And the reason why I'm adamant and mention that, you know what I mean? Because sisters don't get a lot of credit behind the Obama. You know what I
Right.
mean? And she's my Michelle, and she rode the whole ride out with me. So she's the vice president of my new company. My kids is on board, and dealing with this industry, one of the things that helped me stay afloat, sister, is having a family stability
Mhm.
because this thing fluctuate. There's all kind of opportunistic people. There's this and
Right.
that. Bottom line is just faking it in the $3 bill. You know what I'm saying? You do meet your right people, but those people are on the back streets. You know what I mean? So I identify from a family perspective, uh, um, just talking to good homegrown people. You know what I mean? Of course, I can, mix it up with entertainment cats.
Right.
But what really gets me is being able to register towards the streets and the people. Plain and simple. And I know I talked your ear off, but I'm feeling the
You
spirit. That's
didn't.
all.
You gave me content, which is
Mm-hmm.
like you want that from an OG. Well, oh, sorry, not an OG,
Mm-hmm.
a legend.
Young Jane. Yes, ma'am.
Someone
Mm-hmm.
who's got over 100. Like you got so many doggone albums. You've been in so many films. It's just ridiculous. So I would never want you to downplay your contributions to
Mm-hmm.
music.
Oh, not at all. It
No,
just,
no,
you know what I
definitely.
mean?
It seemed like you were humbled by everything that happened in the beginning, but you still knew to learn. You never stopped learning. So why is that still important for you to keep learning as you grow?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can go outside, you know what I mean? It's a mind state. You can go outside and say, oh, I'm getting old. I'm getting old. But you realize the redwood tree is really like 100 years old. So we really ain't old. You know what I mean? So I had to get out of the being too old and mature and just have some fun, like gather up my youth again. Go back to Google Gaga sometimes. Now I know that seemed retarded to some people, but we get robbed of our innocence. You know what I mean? When all kind of things and frequencies and years of going through the same repetitive things. And the one of the things that really helped me out is that I've been able to get my knees bleedy with my wife and my family. And God just give me the right signals, directions. And he's always been trying to tell us, there's always room for improvement every day. I don't care if you're 60 years old. And the more I start paying attention, like what a man, a woman, sow is reap is what you sow.
Mhm.
What you pay attention to is what you become, law of attraction. And he had to separate in order for me to elevate. So, going through these times in this game is very brutal. Music industry is like the dope business. Sharks everywhere. You know what I mean? I just thank God that he preserved me to be able to do what I'm doing now. But it took him to to lead me away, because sometimes leadership is the most loneliest road in existence, but through that brokenness, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It was God's opportunity to reframe the way I think, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes, we too busy all the time. And when
Right.
God's calling, we put him on the answer service. You know
Facts.
what I mean? So he stopped me in my tracks. And to keep it G real, he just said, man, he just started talking because I started paying attention. You know what I mean? Now he just turned everything. I'm dealing at a high frequency instead of a low grade aura. You know what I mean? There's things that no matter how much I shine, I contribute everything to God Almighty, Heavenly Father, the Most High. You
Mhm.
know what I mean? So
Right.
by me doing that, to make a long story short, I start accepting new beginnings
Mhm.
and closed old chapters.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So once I did that, you start to see things crystal clear, because we always tend to reckon with our own reasoning all the time. I did it a lot, trying to figure it out. You want to make God laugh, tell him your plan. You
Mm.
know what I mean? So, I just let go. I have to be so preachy, have a kumbaya moment. But, you know, in the real way, that's what helped me embrace my new beginning. You know what I mean? Now I see where I'm at, man, all over the world. I'm a pillar of the communities because people were raised off my music. Now they get a chance to say, okay, coach, you got the podium. I'm not telling you to put a sack in your hand. I'm telling you put some knowledge in your hand. You know what I'm saying? That's the new gangster, like Nipsey said, the CEO. So
Fact.
that's why we here, and we still putting that good music, because now the kids are starting to pay attention. And I definitely not just want to leave a creative legacy, but also, give them some game to how to protect yourself to leave a financial legacy too.
That's right. And I like that. I like that. I like that you went in business with the family. You got so many people that leave the family behind, but you was like, nah, we get ready to crank this thing up. So tell me about
Hmm.
everything that you have going on now.
Well, running my company is going on 14 years with my wife. Shout out to Lady Kokane again. Um, and we're interesting bunch of people. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? All my kids are on the board. They participate, whether it's graphics, whether it's web design, and we like the new Jackson, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And we just putting out records. Preferably with our family. Number one, my daughter just came out with a record called F Boy Signs. It's out on all your digital sites. My nephew from Cleveland, Ohio, big ups to the OH Don. You know what I mean? He got a cut. His name is Justin Blue Moon. And we just released a cut called Man Please. So, there's a lot of business ventures we got coming. I got a cocaine strand coming. Shout out to D from Tree Mungles. I also got my own clothing line, as you see. I got to get you some of this
Okay.
fresh gear,
Okay. I can dig it.
you know.
I will wear
Yeah, so yes, ma'am. So we just out here. There's a lot of momentum behind this record. First of all, we did a dance contest, and we originally did $1,000, but then this thing got so overwhelming because people need to feel good when they at the house, and when we put it out there, it just took off. The universe said, "I got this." And we had cats from all over the world. So we had to do a top 10 list, give
it.
away more to, some more money. And
Wow.
it was really respect to the culture,
Hmm.
because people forget about dancing and music, and it goes hand in hand. When we were raised, man, it was cool to go to junior high and high school and ask somebody like, you want to dance?
Mm.
Now it's like, you want to dance and let me hit that shit on the floor. Nah, man. So in retrospect to that, it feels good that we put out a record, and we had cats from Tanzania, Africa, Saudi Arabia, Canada. Big ups to DJ Despair too, listening by the way. Big ups to CatX too, in the building. We start all talking, sister, and then we said, this is bigger than us.
Hmm.
This record right here, Monkey Wasn't Funky, it's got 6 years old. and people in 50 and 60s grew into this.
Right.
So it reminds me of that knee-deep Parliament when Parliament finally hit in an Afrocentricity way, in the Ebonical way, in the urban way, in the Black way. It hit the Blackness of us. You know what I'm saying? So, like James Brown said, he had a whole different crowd out there, and they just wasn't Black. He said, I feel your Blackness, whether you white, whether you Chinese, whether you Mexican, whether you that. And I think a record like this is good because it crossed the color lines.
Right.
And it could be the most simplistic thing, like a record, to make people pay attention, to feel good and dance, especially in these lockdown times. Because these next 3 months, I hope Monkey Wasn't Funky played so much, you know what I mean, to make people feel good, because it's going to be crazy. But, you know, we gave away the money. And I'll tell you this, seeing the brothers from Tanzania, Africa, you know what I'm saying? Because you always want to make a pilgrimage home. You do. It's just what it is, you know what I mean? But to see the sincerity, you know, when I had called them and said, you know, hey, how you doing? They was nervous, right? But I said, you know, they must have thought I was going to tell them, hey, man, thanks for joining, but you didn't win. I said, nah, brothers, y'all won the whole thing.
Aww.
You know, me and my team picked y'all, and they dropped the phone, sister. You know what I mean? They dropped the phone, got up, and just tears out of their eyes. So I had to put the phone down because I don't, you know, I got to protect my ego a little bit. So I don't want to be boo-hooing. But I got back on the phone, and you know what I learned from that? They were so grateful. They did the shout out. You could hear the kids in the little village and everything where they at.
Wow.
And it just make me appreciate that I was able to make music that touched the four corners of the earth and help people feel good by giving. Because cats like that, we complain too much over here.
Right.
You know what I mean? We complain too much over here. I mean, certain things is cool, is legitimate. You know, legitimate might gripe, you know, against the system. But I felt in my mind, you niggas need to go get a job or something. You know what I'm saying? Like here, these cats brothers over here got less than nothing. And they were able to feel appreciated. So now they spreading that out to all their buddies. Monkey wasn't funky, you know. And it just, you know, it allows me to say, thank you, God, for praising you. It might not have been a gospel record, but thank you for allowing me to touch these people and giving a chance to talk to them, telling them that God did it, not me.
Amen. Listen, I think you got a gospel record in you, though. Like the way you preaching, I think you got one.
It's just love. It's all love at the end of the day.
Right.
Whatever God called us to do, you know, it might be different positions, but it's all the same. Amen. It's like love. Your soul is measured not what you do for yourself, but how you pray for others and what you do for others.
Boy, you better.
You know, and you know, so you know, that's cool with me, man. I don't. At the end of the day, where God just taking my family, you know, it's we always have the attitude. It's best to stay in a little bitty house of love than to share all this mansion of contention going out here. And if they don't get themselves together, you know what I mean? Because time is short. Whether it's through music, flipping burger, or whatever it is, you got to use all these things as a catalyst to say, I'm gonna wheel people in like fishermen and men. I ain't gonna be too preachy, but at the same time, I'm gonna keep that shit real to my core.
Okay.
Plain and simple.
Some snaps for that. Cool. So, with that and with the new music, because I listened to it, it's definitely an old school vibe mixed with new school. So I think it's a definite banger for sure. With that, what next for you after this?
Wherever God takes us. You know what I'm saying? Ideals are coming in. The universe is open.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't pray for money. I pray for power.
Okay.
You know, because when God gives you the power, it's like either you're gonna use it right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? Whether you affect somebody on the corner or worldwide, it's all the same. So wherever God take us, is definitely on a humanitarian level. Okay. You know, I don't have to say It ain't about being perfect. Everybody ain't perfect, of course.
Right.
You don't have to say that. But, you know, I just thank God for evolving. It's room for improvement. And I just thank God for a purpose. You know, purpose is very important. We want Buddy Boy Entertainment. It's on the way to be number one because we claim it. You know what I mean? To see my kids, number one, blossom their gifts, God-given gifts, intelligence, you
Right.
know, and boldness that they have, you know what I mean? Especially my daughters, you know, the hard heads is the hard heads, but the daughters, because, you know, they're young queens and they get it hard.
Mm.
And it's just a blessing that they got a father in their life, a mother in their life to make them have their paradigm shifts, you know. So I want to see them grow. You know what I'm saying? I want grandkids. We ain't got no grandkids yet, you know, and I'm just very optimistic. Wherever God takes me is where I'm supposed to go. So, you know, Monkey Wasn't Funky's coming out December the 4th.
Right.
It's a record, and this is the force behind there. We imagine us opening these plaques. So, you know, with your help, sister, you know, I dreamed of you opening your plaque into
Right.
manifestation off this one single. So hopefully it'll do what it do, and that's what it is.
I think it's a versatile banger where you're reaching different generations, and if that was the goal, you've definitely done that. So you know, if I'm bopping my head, and I come from your era,
Hmm.
and I'm very hard on music. I mean, I like all kinds of music, but at the same time, you want to be able to touch more than one generation, and I think you've done that with this album. So kudos to you. Um, and then
Well, actually, because a lot of people saying, not to cut you off, sister.
no, it's
A lot
okay.
of people saying it's an album. It's a single.
The single.
The new album is called "Give Me Five" on the Black Hand side. You know what I mean? It's old school with live instrumentation. That's coming out next year.
Okay.
But we're promoting this single like an album because we're doing it just like it was in the 70s and
Mhm.
80s. You know, ain't no substitution for just good.
Right.
It was good back then, you know, preparing it. And we getting back into making the album covers like eye candy because we used to buy records even before we heard it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We used to Parliament Records, even Ohio Player Records. We bought it off the cover because
Right.
we were curious about it. You know what I mean? So, okay. Yeah, so that's what it was, man. The cover is created by my son. It's all in the family. You know, Monkey Wasn't Funky, man. It's gonna be one of them ones, man. Get you on the dance floor and stop tripping. Put your pistols
Facts.
back in the car.
Listen, my grandma had a liquor house. I'm pretty sure I would have been listening to that in her liquor house.
And right, we all know about the liquor houses down south, and you know what I'm saying. It's a beautiful thing. It's really getting back into that
Feel
blackness
good.
and being proud to have blackness in music.
That's right. That's right. And speaking of just being proud and blackness, how were you inspired by the elections or the turnout of the elections?
Well, it's just pick your poison.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. It's layers of things.
Mm-hmm.
All I can tell people is just stay in prayer.
Mm.
You know, stay in prayer. You know, it's a lot of crazy things is gonna happen in these next 3 months.
Facts.
You know, but even though media is putting a lot of emphasis on there and just perpetuating frequencies and really bringing more fear,
Mm-hmm.
you know, get into the Word of God, get into a good book, turn off the bullshit, feed your brain. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? Because it's just too much fear going out there. You know what I mean? And that's something I have to do. You know, in order to make these quality records and be agape confidence, you know, about expressing myself. You know what I mean? I have to turn off things. I'm
Right.
sorry. It's just, you know what I'm saying? You know, and you know, you gotta practice that, you know, because you in the matrix system promoting your brands and it's just you see a lot of bullshit, unnecessary shit, weirdo shit, serial killer shit. You don't know what's happening.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's you the people that created these social sites try to warn you they try to warn you at the same time knowing that it was going to do what it was going to do.
Right.
So you can't treat the internet like a diary.
Mm-hmm.
And too many people is treating a beast that have rhythms that know how to brainwash you. You know what I mean? So, but the only way I was able to break out of that is my best computer is my family.
Right.
You know what I mean? We play board games when the people think that's board games. You know what I'm saying? We do different things. We do cookouts. We talk. We just love wisdom.
Right.
You know, those that love wisdom, man, understand about just paying attention. But people that are foolish, and I was once there, I ain't gonna you cast the first stone without seeing. I'm not judging.
Right.
It's just that you got to change the way you think, and it articulate whether you're a musician. It allow you to grow because I've grown so much. That's why sonically, when you hear that record,
Mm-hmm.
there's not too many people singing. There's only one person doing all those background on 30 different tracks.
Mm-hmm.
And there's only one producer that's playing like 6 or 7 different instruments. It's like the universe is inside us, really the kingdom,
Right.
and it's music. You know what I'm saying? So this type of music, it's good because it's a lot of things just not a balance no more. And we need to get back to, a balance, even in entertainment, television, it's cool to see a Malcolm X movie, and it's cool to see American Gangster movie,
Mm-hmm.
but at the end of the day, this is what you do, not who you are,
Right.
so who are you? My name's Jerry B. Long, you know what I'm saying? A kid strong with 37 years, going to my belt. So that's the type of reflection that we need to look at, you know what I'm saying, and need to absorb. Because if you don't have that family type of vibe in this crazy world, man, you go out of your mind.
I love that your reasoning for creating the single is multi-layered. You just have so many reasons for creating it, but again, that means everybody's going to get something from it. You have to be esoteric, to kind of like
Right.
get into the reasoning
Right.
behind it. But if you are, you're going to get it once you hear that record or
Yeah.
single.
Yeah. It's real simple. If it makes you dance, then it
Right.
works.
Facts. So where can our viewers follow you, download the music, and just stay up to date with what you got going on and purchase the merch?
Yes, it's coming out December the 4th, this Friday. It'll be everywhere globally. Of course, you can get it on your digital platforms. And we also coming out with the wax for the singles, tapes for the singles, so it's going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we really taking it back. And the clothing line, we're doing a soft launch pretty soon.
Hmm.
And you can get your street gear. We got all kind of varieties for ladies and men's
Hmm.
and young children as well. You know what I mean? The cocaine strand is coming. My daughter's working on a makeup line right now. Her name is Young Colombiana. That's Anissa Long. And she's 25 years old, got her own stuff. So it's about empowering the ladies. Ladies got to stick together, I feel, you know what I mean? And it's just a lot of great things, man. Follow us at Kokane_OG. You spell it at Kokane. Don't spell it drug name. Underscore
Had a fed
OG
looking for you.
underscore. No, we don't do that. But if you're trying to get a hold of me, because this is what I do all around the world,
Hmm.
lace artists, and especially now, there's a lot of young artists, trying to get to the OG or whatever. I'm pretty simple. You know what I mean? Just hit me on my DM
Hmm.
and make sure your business together because I'm not a candy striper. I'm a legend. You
That's
know what
right.
I mean? I handle my business. You know what I mean? So, but I'm pretty easy to talk to. I might even get on the phone and pray with you. You know what I mean?
All right now.
So, that's what it's about.
You won me over with that prayer line. We got it. We got action.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Praying,
So
especially with people.
the single is going to be out December 4th, and then people can follow you
Hmm
stay up to date with everything, and your daughter, correct?
Yes, yes. And also we doing a DJ contest.
Okay.
Yes, man. We got to get love to the DJs. See, people sleep on the DJs. Without DJs, we wouldn't be played nowhere.
Right.
You know, so we're doing a $3,000 DJ battle contest worldwide. You
Wow.
know, we don't care what coalition you're from. We just want to celebrate the culture. We did it with the dance thing and it went real good organically.
Hmm.
Now we're doing it with the DJs because the DJs are very important. I always stressed that for years. Not about like, oh, no bandwagon, kiss ass all of a sudden because I want my record. So
Right.
no, no. I build with certain DJs. Me and my guy, Classic got a bunch of stuff together. Me and my guy, DJ Despair, he got the Street Killers thing going on. We are very serious about our culture.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So this contest is going down pretty soon. It's in conjunction with Timeout, who helped me, you know, my nephew who helped me push the lane
Hmm.
for this dance contest. And we want to see, man, we want to see people get on the flow when the DJs play this and mix it up. And all the DJs are getting an early start. There's DJs that are sending me clips and
Hmm.
getting back into the mix. And then all you got to do is mix the shit out of the monkey with the funky. And that's how you enter the contest. So hopefully we get some lady DJs because we always put the spin on the dudes.
Right. Right.
But
Right.
there's some hardcore ladies. So, you know,
Oh, yeah.
ladies be looking out for the 3K. You know what I'm saying? Contest is coming soon.
Okay. Cool beans. We got it. We got action. So definitely with the female DJs, kudos to you, queens, and thank you so much.
For sure.
Bye.
Appreciate you.